Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I did it. I pushed the button. Am I live? Is this thing on? Welcome to chat session number 2. For folks watching this after the fact, just in the general populace, this is a replay. Check to see that it is not live, but you can see the live chat replay. Depending upon the device that you're on, if you're on desktop, it should just come up. You should see other people who are there chatting right now. And if you're not on desktop, you may have to push a button to make it show up. But this was the second Patreon Copper and Up tier supporter chat session, and I've got some folks already here. Some folks actually got here before I did. So Navy Dog, good to see you. Welcome. See you later is here. Hello. Witch is here. Who are you? Witch? Oh yeah, Witch. Right. W-I-C-H. I remember your name. Commander Cody's left shoulder, just his left shoulder. Nolan is here, and Jeff Springer is here. Welcome, everyone. I think there may be some others as well who are either just arriving or being quiet. It's all good. Sweet. I feel like it's been... Louisa, welcome. Chad, welcome. Excellent. I love the fact that this is a relatively small group here. And yeah, it just makes things a lot more comfortable, I think. And I like this format. And getting, a limited number of folks together where we can be talking with each other. And then after the fact, the wide world seeing this is not the most entertaining thing. I'm not a switch, streamer, performer, personality, whatever. I'm not able to make these things super entertaining. I mean, I guess I could try, but I really don't want to. Like, oh, what's going on in the chat, guys? I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. White Squirrel Books, welcome. Eating pizza on the East Coast. Just don't get it in the chat, okay? The grease. I hope that you're enjoying it. Just don't share the grease part of it with us, okay? Just wipe your fingers. Wipe your fingers. Social distance with the grease. Just saying. I actually have some friends here with me today, just like last time. And these are all new ones that have come in since last time. And it might not even be all of them. These are just ones that I picked up this week. Let me go ahead and show you who has arrived. I have a little cheat sheet here because a lot of them, especially from the back, look rather similar. But first up here, this is Cranky Bricks. You've seen her in the chat last time as Catherine. So she has arrived with some luggage. Next up here, I hope I don't pronounce this too wrongly. Garo or Garho W. It's Garho. He also has some luggage, and he's got a snack in there. I think it's like a Danish. And then next over here with, I believe that's a Steven Spielberg face. This is See You Later, and he's right there in the chat. So here's your dude. Got him. Thank you very much. Have not gotten through all of the list of who goes where under what circumstances just yet. This next one, so I don't like to play favorites, but I'm going to play favorites here. This is my favorite figure that I've gotten so far. This is Louisa, who is right there in the chat. This is kind of fantastic because that's the orange face paint face with a Mysterio fishbowl helmet and a Tron Legacy body and legs on there. And I just think it looks awesome. Also has a Mandalorian or Clone Trooper, what is that, the visor sight thing as an antenna, and a medium blue colored tile on the back with a bracket. Pretty fantastic. Never seen anything like it, but I like it. And then the last one here, and certainly not least, Nolan, I see ya. We all see ya. So he also arrived with Teddy. right there. Excellent. So we got another pair there. And those will be going in the city this week. So I'll be posting up pictures of them to be sure. One thing that I really, really don't like about this whole streaming chat setup is the delay. I really wish that it was a little bit more real time. I've got it on not the single most or the single closest to real time setup, but I think the closest to real time setup just reduces the quality even more. You are welcome, guys. Yeah, I think this is about as good as it gets. I tried what they call the ultra low latency setting for real time interaction, and it didn't seem to make that much of a difference. You know, it still was like at least a 10-second delay. How's the city going? Am I working on anything in particular? I have not touched the city since, what was it, a few days ago when I put the crane in there. I actually just put the crane back last night, because I brought it into the studio. But that actually rolls on into one of the viewer questions, one of the absentee questions that was left by John over on Patreon. Well, let's see. There are a couple. So I'm going to mix them together. I'm going to mix the offline questions together. Big Sarge asks, as his second of 3 questions, what would you like to work on next in New Jang City? I'm tying it all together. It all works. And what I would like to work on next in New Jang City is probably going to be the zoo. And a lot of you have actually pushed me in that direction because I've talked about remodeling the zoo for quite some time, especially since I have a nice space that I'm comfortable with. Stuff has changed in the city over the years a lot, even in its current overall form. But I'm pretty confident in that space, especially since I put the mountain hillside, whatever thing, especially since I put that there. That is not moving. It's not like train tracks. Train tracks can be moved until I ballast them in, then it becomes a pain. Buildings can be moved at any time. Just pick up the whole base plate and move it around. Streets can be moved, and I've moved all that stuff. But the mountain is probably not moving. And since the zoo is going up against the mountain, I have extreme confidence that I'm not going to want to majorly change the shape of the world over there anytime soon. So I've gained a lot of confidence in going ahead and just working on the zoo. It's going to be a long project. It's probably not going to be one of those one video things like I did with the crane, but that is definitely what is looking like it's going to be the next major thing, the next major project. I kind of wanted to go ahead and finish off the plaza in front of the skyscraper since I started to work on that, but I don't know. The zoo's been calling for a while, and a number of you have been asking for that for a while, and I appreciate the push in that direction. And I'll take any kind of push that I can, because otherwise all things will pull me towards them, and then it kind of get to that paralysis of analysis state. So John C. asks in his second of 2 questions, when are you going to remodel the zoo? And what are you going to do in the remodel? Well, when is next, I think. I mean, I might take on some small project before then, but this year, to be sure, it's top of queue. What am I going to do in the remodel? Well, I'm going to expand the size. That's the number one goal there, is make it bigger, put more space in there, and also do some reveals of my long-term plans of stuff that's probably a little bit unexpected there. But increase the size, especially of the African Plains style of area. I want to have some actual open-looking space, even though I have all sorts of animals that I want to put in there. A lot more now than I did before. Yeah, that's going to be a fight just between me of creating more space and putting more things in there at the same time. But of course, a major thing of interest for me personally in the zoo is the aquarium. So I want to really think that through really well. I definitely want to make that larger. I'm okay with letting that be kind of crowded animal dense like it is right now. I'm actually okay with that. But I do definitely want to get some lighting in there, and I want to make it so that it's much easier for us huge figs and me in particular with a camera to get in there and show what it looks like. Because I really thought about the minifigure view when I was building that. I've got the tunnel going through the middle of the existing aquarium. And I think that minifigures can see a lot, but I can't see a lot. I can't, I can see just a little bit from the front and plenty from the back where all the windows are back there. But I need to see more of that, and I want to share more of that. So I need to figure out what the shape and orientation of that will be to really optimize visibility for all of us. And I may have to sacrifice realism for that a bit, and I'm okay with that. But yeah, probably top priority will be the aquarium for me, getting that set up right, and then just making more space. See you later. Ask, which series would I like to see return? You must not have been watching me for very long. Which series would I like to see return? For example, Western, Castle, Monster Fighters, or any other, conveniently leaving out space. Come on. I'm all about space. Lego could turn into nearly 100% space, and I'll be okay with it. That's just me. I love space-based sci-fi stuff. So yeah, space wins easy. But that's just me. But I'm gonna use that to tie into. Let's see. Daniel, I'm going to take his second of 3 questions from Patreon offline. If I could choose a third-party IP to be a collectible minifigure series, what would it be? He says his choice would be DreamWorks. I should go through these questions. I have gone through these questions before starting, but not enough to really think about it. I probably should go through these questions in advance to think about them, but I prefer just the real-time approach to it, as if I had just read this in chat. So I don't have a pre-canned answer to that. Third-party IP to make a collectible minifigure series. I'd like to hear from the live chat what you guys think. What would you like to see be a third-party IP? Something that's not Lego created as another minifigure series. I'm struggling a little bit because obviously Star Wars is just too easy of a one, and they wouldn't be able to do that anyway because of the deal with Hasbro. But what else? What would make a good minifigure series? Well, it's easy to say the Nintendo one now that they have the Nintendo license. That would definitely rank high. I think that would be cool to see, even though I'm not a Nintendo guy myself. I think that would be really cool to see, and a lot of people would enjoy it. They've already got Disney. Third-party IP. I don't follow that many third-party IPs myself, and ones that I do, it's like TV and stuff that would be a handful of main characters. I think I'm gonna have to chew on that one a little bit longer. See if I can come back to that. I'm gonna switch back to the chat real quick. So excited! I got the Blacktron set. Yes. I definitely just want to get through. Is pretty much your favorite series? I think it's one of my favorite series that they've done. Original Blacktron, one of my favorite series that they've done. That is not generic. That kind of has its own made up IP, if you will. Its own named theme, as opposed to just something general. General space, general town, or something like that. Legoland series is the only one that beats it, because because it's got all the good stuff. Image Comics characters. What is Image Comics? Commander Cody's left shoulder. Not familiar with it by name. Star Trek, see you later, says. Babylon 5. I'm with you. Vince. Babylon 5, that's a good one. But Commander Cody, I need to know what is Image Comics? What would I as a non-comic person know of? Give me a name of a character or a few characters or something. Oh, what about Studio Ghibli? If I have not totally ruined the pronunciation of that. That would be cool. Or I almost said Pokemon, but nah. Lego would probably not do a great job with Pokemon. Probably not. Voltron. Voltron. Keep going in the space sci-fi. There you go, Chad. Yeah. So, I mean, I guess there are enough human characters, right? But they just wouldn't do the Pokemon themselves well, is what I'd really worry about. Ah, Spawn. Okay, yep. That makes sense. Let me grab another impossible question for me, or an actually impossible question for me. The third of 3 from Daniel. What are my favorite 3 Lego minifigures, either from collectible minifigure series or just in general? Totally impossible. That I can't answer that. First of all, even when I have a heads up on questions like that coming, I struggle to find, like, if somebody asks me what is my favorite one, I struggle. I have to go look at the minifigure wall. I have to go look back at the brick set listings for some recent sets from the past couple of years. It just makes my brain go in so many different directions. I really don't have any in particular. Plus, it's a little bit rough for me, given that I go through hundreds and hundreds of figures every year, that it just becomes complete overload. I don't have anything in particular that just stays with me, that just deep down in my heart is like, that was a great figure. I'm not that tied to minifigures myself. I like builds so much more, but even at that, I don't have. I'm not big into favorites, I guess. That's really what it comes down to. I never thought of it that way. I'm not that big into absolute favorites. I'll have a favorite for a moment, and then I'll kind of switch that around. I like to spread the love around. But yeah, top 3. Sorry, I can't help you. I can't do it, Cotton. Historic sport people, Chad suggests, as a minifigure series. That would definitely work, because then you've got all humans, and they should be able to do anything. They should be able to cover that very, very well. Destiny, Destiny the game. I wouldn't mind that. Lots of humanoids, lots of recognizable characters that they could set up with just a limited number. A reasonable number of unique molds. I think they could pull that off. But I mean, Mega has, I think, the Destiny. I'm not sure if they still have the Destiny license. They haven't suggested that they're doing anything new. Let me go ahead and finish off Daniel's questions. His first of 3 was my favorite and least favorite Lego action or play feature. For example, Technic Competition Cannon. That's my favorite right there. The Technic Competition Cannon set of launcher and projectile just worked perfectly. It's a bit big, but for the size of the projectile, the launcher is very reasonable in size, and it has a fair number of connections to it. So you just get a lot for what you get there, for its size, and it works so consistently. Like when you set it up where you can actually set angles and do arced shots and aiming and things, you get that consistency, you get that nice precision. So I just think that it worked really, really well. I'll put second place. I'm a little bit torn between the Zamor Sphere launcher from Bionicle, the big cylinder one, because that worked really, really well. But it didn't package up very well. You know, for the size of projectile, it was a pretty big tube with a limited number of connections on it. Other than that, the stud shooting bolt caster, I think, is a pretty good one because it's something that actually has an action feature in it, but it still looks good. You know, unlike the stud shooters, which just by themselves, they're okay. I mean, I don't think they're terrible. You know, for what they are, for their size and everything, and the fact that you don't have to just shoot studs with them, and you don't even have to shoot with them. The fact that there's a stud on the back really helps a lot with those to, you know, turn them into launchers and things. But least favorite, oh, what was that? In terms of, oh no, I was gonna go with the was it 6 projectile shooter that Bionicle did. It looked like a Gatling gun, but it would just shoot all of them out at the same time. It looked cool, but did not work well at all. It would just fire them all off, and it was kind of like they just fall down, and you have to load every single one. But I'm going to go with the new net shooter that they came up with, what was it, 2 years ago now? Just kind of a failure, in my opinion. Just such a large thing with limited connection possibilities and really doesn't work that well. Yeah, it shoots the thing off. You know, it tosses a net out there, but the net itself doesn't work. You know, you're lucky if it'll land on the thing and even that you're trying to target and then just stay there. You know, half of the time things that you hit, even if you do manage to hit, it'll just fall off. So that's kind of weak. Do I have an original Galaxy Explorer? I had them. I had all of the classic space sets through whenever what was it, the Polaris Space Base, I think was the last one or one of the last ones. I had the entire series, so go back through my channel or just search on my channel for Classic Space Collection or search on YouTube for Jangbrick's Classic Space Collection. I had all of them, even the ones with questionable, you know, the really rare ones, really obscure ones, with questionable releases and questionable sources. So I have had all of those in my possession at one time or another. Presently, I feel like I have one small classic space set. I don't remember what it was, but there are some, because I donated that entire collection, and I would like to get a handful of small ones back to hold on to. I'm not really that closely tied to the 924, 928. What was the other one? Why am I forgetting? You know, they had the 3 sizes, and I don't remember what the third one was, but I'm not so much tied to those most iconic classic space ships. For me, it was more the more than 4-wheeled little rovers and things that they did. So I'm probably going to get some of those back and then hold on to them this time. Mulder and Scully, Skyrim, or Fallout. Fallout would make a really good, the Fallout universe would make a really, really good collectible minifigure series. Such a shame that those videos don't have comments anymore. Yes. Yes. Especially the old comments that were just there, you know. If they had to just cut off the comments, you know, cut off new commenting, that would be one thing. But to get rid of it, was literally over 1 million comments that got hidden away permanently by the Copocalypse. Anyway, not directly related to Lego, but do I do any other forms of art apart from Lego, 2D or 3D? Not really. I've dabbled. I used to try to sketch a little bit, and I've dabbled in 3D stuff. Probably 20 years ago now, something like that. More than 20 years. Yep, like 25 years, 28 to 25 years ago in that region. But other forms of art, I've done a little bit of pottery work. Nick on Planet Ripple, where have you been? Sorry you're late. No, sorry. Do or do not. There is no try. Come on. Welcome. Are the comments only hidden on the old videos, or are they completely deleted? Thankfully, they're only hidden. So there is that slightest glimmer of hope that we could get them back at some point. They still exist. They're not deleted, but just completely hidden away. Let me grab another question from the offline question queue from Big Sarge Pete. Did I get the ideas? Pirate Bay. Define get. I ordered 2 of them. Just waiting. I ordered them on the day that the thing was released. That's one that I probably would have gone into the Lego store for if Lego stores were still open, but they're not. So I ordered it, and they sent me an email just a couple days ago saying, hey, just want to let you know we did get your order, like we said before, but things are running a little bit late, which I completely understand, So, at this point, it's just a waiting game. But yeah, that one I definitely ordered and will dive into as soon as I get it. His third question was, what classic spaceman color should Lego produce next? Of course, super excited to get an orange later this year. I would like to see them finish gray, just the light bluish gray, because we have the torso for it, but we don't have a classic style helmet. We can do the neoclassic thing with them, but I want to see a classic style helmet done for the light bluish gray. Of course, we've got air tanks as well, so we can make them. I wouldn't mind if they would just release the whole thing, but at least the helmet. Like they kind of snuck in the non-broken Benny blue helmet, classic style, into one of the Ninjago sets, and it wasn't even one of the more expensive ones, thank goodness. So they can sneak in a gray helmet, I think, just by itself. But yeah, they need to finish that, and then after that, I'm thinking, what comes to the first thing that comes to mind is purple, like a proper purple. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I would like to see. That dark blue is not a bad one. The dark blue, I think that could look pretty cool. But no, I'm gonna go with purple for that. See you later. Yours is supposed to arrive today. Hope it does. Nick says he has that Pod Racer set. Excellent. And the newest one blows the old one away? Really? Huh. Because I'll take your word for it. That'll be interesting to see. I don't think I still have the new one. I'll have to check in the archives, the new term, the near term, short term archives, if I still have that. I still remember it. This looks pretty good in the picture, but yeah, that'll be interesting to check out. Sebulbas, I've not even spent that much time really looking at Sebulbas. I definitely like those orange wheel pieces that are used there, and I like the design of it. As long as it's sturdy, I think that may be a pretty good one, even though I'm personally not a big fan of the whole pod racing thing. It was probably my least favorite thing. Second least favorite thing in episode 1, even though they spent so much time on it. Partly because they spent so much time on it. Sand colors. Commander Cody's left shoulder has spoken. Sand blue, sand green. Sand blue, I can see. Sand green, that would be interesting. Yeah, that would definitely be interesting, kind of taking things in a different direction. Because with the sand green, I feel like sand green for figures very quickly moves you in a post-apocalyptic sort of direction, or more of a gritty kind of direction. you know? Yeah. What about sand red? They also have sand purple. Sand red. That's a really weird color on figures. All right, let me grab from another one of these questions that I've not answered yet. No, I think I got them. Wait, I got that one. I got that one. Oh, got that. Big Sarge asked, did I answer what would I like to work on next? Yeah, I did. Oh, John C. His first of two questions. What are your favorite mock or what is your favorite mock or what are your favorite mocks that you've done, that I've done? I think I'm going to stick with the ice cream shop and arcade and motorcycle shop for now as my favorite. It still works for me. It's still, I think, even though I've looked at it quite a bit, I have moved it around actually a fair amount, so I'm familiar with what it looks like from different angles and also how well it is able to really fit into a city. I still like the look of it from the outside, and I'm still happy about the stuff on the inside. I wish that more people could see what's on the inside even more, and that's something that I just continue to struggle with is, wanting to do a lot of interior details and really enjoying that stuff and enjoying sharing that stuff. And I know a lot of people like to see the interior details and the life and, the amount of different little creative suggestions of real life things that can be packed into the interior of something. But then once it's inside, put the roof on, or put the level above on or whatever, you don't see it anymore. And that's rough because, one of the purposes of New Jang City is to share it. I like doing the stuff myself. I like having the stuff, but if I'm not able to share so much of it, as I think of doing more and more custom builds, especially down in the downtown area, that's kind of a focal area. It's kind of sad actually to think of just the loss, at least with videos, if I do a tour through a building, that gets preserved and people can always go back and look at that. But I want to be able to revisit and, maybe every once in a while, every couple of years or something, move figures around and change the scenarios on the inside. I can do that and then do another video, but I just want to be able to share it more. Like as I've added lights into things, that has helped with the visibility of the first layer, so you can look through windows and see stuff. But even at that, I almost feel like it would be better if I did Lego style of half open buildings. I'm not saying I'm moving in that direction. Don't get scared or anything, but just to have that, or to have everything be able to swivel open on the back easily, to get easy access. I don't know. It would just require a completely different way of approaching a city design. And I'm actually not against the idea of completely redoing the concept of the city at some point if something really, really good comes up. But teal for a spaceman, Vince says. Medical color, perhaps. Oh, or light aqua. What do you think about that? That would stand out. The Explorer, Redbeard, Roni, and Drone Boy looking like a grown-up Tim Timebuster. We're seeing a lot of old friends, yes. Do I think this is a good way to keep classic Lego characters around? Absolutely, Nick. I think it is, and I think that Lego probably thinks about this quite a bit, and they're doing that very, very consciously. That there's probably a lot of debate internally because I know that most Lego designers are Lego fans, if not all of them, just on their own. Like if they all got fired today, they would continue to do Lego. Most of them would, and they would keep Lego stuff. But I'm sure that a lot of them are fans of classic Lego themes. And a lot of them want to bring to all of us, and especially older fans like themselves, more classic stuff. But they know that they can't, because the bean counters will be like, how many of those are going to sell? You know, yeah, they're able to put more and more focus on adult fans these days, as we are a growth market for them, because there are more of us are entering the hobby or coming out of the closet with our Lego-ness. But still, the kids are still in the good 90% range at least, and they just Lego just can't invest super heavily. They can't just bring back classic space as an entire theme. They can do a neo-classic space maybe, but it would be modern. It would be fully modern. Might take some cues from old stuff. But like classic castle, can they bring it back in a classic castle way? No. Can they bring it back like Knights Kingdom 2 or Kingdoms or anything more recent? A little bit. But the reason that they don't do that stuff, which is so easy to do and so many of us teens and adults have asked for, is that it just won't sell well enough. Even the last castle theme that they did not sell well, and that had some pretty decent sets at pretty decent prices. I think the main one was a little bit overpriced, the main castle, but honestly, objectively speaking, that wasn't a bad series, but it sold really, really poorly. So they just can't. They just can't. So I really appreciate every time that they try to insert something and to give us those little things that we can grab onto and hold onto and just be like, like the classic space stuff that they were able to insert into the Lego movie. That's just great. And I hope that they will continue to do that. Just little things, little gifts is really what they are. It's fan service at that point. Which asks, do I ever look at other people's mocks? As infrequently as possible. I do not want to take inspiration from other people's stuff, and it's very difficult to not take inspiration from other people's stuff, especially when looking for inspiration just in general. So I try to avoid it. I don't want to accidentally do something. I want to make sure that anytime, or rather every time somebody says, oh, you copied so-and-so, I can say, nope, I did not. Maybe we both came to the same conclusion and did something very similar, but I did not copy that person. I like having the confidence in being able to say that. Which also thinks the current children would still be interested in classic themes. Yeah, some. I think some of them would still be fun, but comparatively speaking, I know that Lego does their research, and they're not always right. Some of the stuff that they do, some of their focus group sessions, I think, are not completely successful in what they figure out that kids want, or that their fans in general want. But yeah, certainly there's some old stuff that kids would still be able to enjoy, and if they brought out some old stuff, some of it would sell, including to kids. I just don't think enough of it would. Right, Nick. Open backs of buildings along the edges. That's exactly what I was thinking. That's exactly what I had pictured in my mind. I was just forming an entire side of the city with open backs or with closable backs. Like something just thin, maybe 1 to 2 studs deep, where I would allow myself to create some texture and window sills and stuff like that along the back, and then be able to hinge them open, kind of have an open or close, or just pull off the backs, or even I was also thinking about dust and just having a layer of panels, the 1x4 panels or 1x6 panels in clear, just to close it off from dust, but still be able to see in there, and again, still be able to pull that off. Yep, definitely a thought. But a number of problems come up with that. One, as you just walk around from the view of the camera, you're going to be seeing those open backs, and people already hated seeing the open backs of the temporary houses that I put into the residential area, and also the train line. Right now I've got the train line mostly going around the edge, which does a lot of things for me. First of all, it gives me and also others a good view of the trains as they go by. And that's important to me because you know how important the trains are to me. But also there's an interesting thing that I've probably never talked about with the edge of the table. So imagine that this is the edge of my tables there. Right now I've got a little bit of buffer, just, probably like 2 studs of buffer space. And then train track starts there. And then, you go in 1 stud, and that's how wide the trains are. And the trains are only up to about this high before you get to anything else. So that actually is a physical space. It's a little bit of buffer zone where I can walk past and the side of one of my baggy hoodies won't catch onto that. Or if I've got equipment, electronic equipment, transmitter or whatever for microphone, it just gives some space where I can live comfortably. I can walk around the city. That's one of the important things of having the train line go around the edge. And then on the outside, I also have on the downtown side, I also have the elevated rail, but that's inset a little bit. I'd love to have the elevated rail going directly above at some point. Have a direct over-under. I've had crossover spots, and I actually had a over-under for a little while, which was really cool, but it was farther in. But that's inset even farther. So I can also lean. That's another important thing, is access to move the camera in, to reach in, to put these figures in there, to grab stuff. I need my full reach to be able to access the space. So if I had buildings there, that just kills that. That's another thing that is a kind of an unseen limitation. I just wanted to make sure that I've gotten through all of the questions. Yes, looks like I have gotten. Sorry, I'm really sorry that I didn't get the post on Patreon up for this until about 12 hours before the stream was to go live. I'm behind. I'm especially behind right now on emails and also messages. I'm a few days behind on messages. So for folks who have gotten, for the TAN tier folks in particular who have gotten questions from me, follow-up questions about your special rewards, especially for folks who have gone 2 months, I have gotten a lot of responses. I saw that there were a lot of responses. I will be replying soon. Apologies for that. I'm just a little bit behind on private messages in general. Commander Cody's left shoulder asks, are there any train updates coming in the near future? Always been one of your favorite aspects of New Jack City. Thank you for that. Appreciate that. Nice to have that empathy there. Definitely my favorite thing. Any updates coming in the near future? I don't have anything that I'm just dying to do, but I think the thing that's highest on my priority list that's train related that I want to do soon-ish is my first custom train for the Mellenby district. I've got an idea that I've been sitting on for probably about at least 6 months now. That's inspired by a particular part, and I want to make a kind of that cyberpunk style of train element, of train build for that. That could be the next thing that I work on. I'm definitely looking for things to put into just the regular city, just regular, either passenger. I probably have enough passenger stuff for a while now, but just rolling stock I think would be good to increase that. I think my yards right now, especially my cargo yard, is not particularly full. Man, I wish I had more cargo yard space. I want to have so much rolling stock. I want to have multiples. I just don't have the space for it. How high are my tables for the city? I don't know what the height is in inches or anything. I don't know the exact measurement, but I just use the default length that IKEA uses. So whatever is their standard height, whatever they consider to be just Western standard height for tables, is just what I stick with, which is a little bit less than what I've got this one set up. Not that helps you any. I want to say it's in the 30, 33 inch range, something like that. Something in the meter range. maybe a little bit less. Do I have any tips for doing trains in a small space? You love trains, but you're cramped for space. Yeah. So here's a major question on that. I'll have to wait for the delay. Do you want them to run? Like, do you want to have a loop? I'll wait for your response for that. I'll take a sip of water from my Making Bacon Pancakes glass. Because that makes a huge difference. For me, 75 centimeter table height, the default in Europe, most likely. Most likely. Multiples. Yeah, Nick, definitely. Because, I mean, train stuff is, in real life, one of the things that's cool about trains is that it's trains, it's long runs of stuff, of rolling stock. I always like to see multiple identical locomotives on a train, whether it's a passenger train or a cargo one. And then rolling stock, count how many hoppers go by, count how many gondolas go by, count how many boxcars go by, and car carriers and everything. It's always lots of them and multiple of them. There isn't just one train. So I would love to be able to capture some of that. So yes, you definitely want them to run continually, right? Oh boy. So you're cramped for space. First of all, do you have enough space for an oval? That's kind of the starting point for me is take a run of, just basically take a full circle and then cut that and expand it out into kind of an oval-ish shape where you have the tightest radius, at either end, and then just straights between there. That's the absolute minimum. So do you have enough room to run a loop? If you don't have enough room to run on a continuous loop, then you have to, or I would like to see something set up with a switch. Okay, you've got something like 3 by 10 feet. 3 by 10 feet. So, okay, yeah, 3 by 10 feet. So I personally, I like to use as much of the space as possible to go out to the absolute edges of that space. You can always build things to the inside, but building outside of a train loop very, very quickly restricts your space. And beyond that, you want to have of course you want to have a continuous run. Some interesting things that you can do. Consider if you're using, I'm assuming you're going to use plastic track. Consider the fact that with plastic track, you can actually have a section, if you have enough length, you've got 10 feet there, I think you may have enough. Just think about this as a possibility. You don't necessarily have to have a loop going around the entire thing. If you have a switch, you can loop this way and come back. So you can actually have a straight line, like you can have what looks like an offset Y, a lowercase y. You can have a train come along, do a loop, and go back, as long as you have that same thing at the other end. I don't know if you're going to have, you have quite a bit of old 12 volt stuff. Yeah, you can't loop back on a powered rail set. Unless you're just going to be running, power functions on it. If you can run power functions on it, consider that, because that's something that I was able to take advantage of for my poorly underused Playmobil city that has so much stuff in it and so much train track that I just don't use enough. It's for another discussion, for another channel certainly, but I have loops like that at the ends, and it allowed me to have so much more space, because if you can do that, yeah, it does create these tight little round spaces at the end. They're a little bit awkward to get access to for figures, but you can build a mountain, a hillside in there. You can have a tunnel over one section of it, but then it gives you this huge open space where you can either have the train go by you nearby, or you can basically hide it away from you. So from your view, just imagine that my table here is the space. If I have one of those loops at either end, and then the straight section of track is back here, all that is open space where you can put in streets, you can put in buildings, you can have a nice wide open field, you can do whatever you want. It helps so much to not have two straight lengths. However, if you want, you can also take advantage of that, have another switch, have your switch, let's say over at this side to create that turnaround loop, put in one section of track, or I think you can do it with flex track as well to get it a little bit shorter than that. Put in another switch. You can create a yard right there at that angle. And the next angle can be coming out almost towards you, depending upon how you bend it. You can have a yard that just has the little sidings that go off from there and still end up with some usable blank unencumbered space off to the side. That would definitely be the number one thing that I would look towards. Other than that, so many of these things are going to come down to personal preference and what you want. Like, what do you want out of it? And feel free to continue to use the chat as I speak. But, do you want to focus on the train stuff? Do you want it to be primarily a train layout? Or do you want the trains to augment other stuff that you're interested in, that you want to put on display? Because if you want it to be primarily a train layout, kind of thinking of it the way that model railroaders do, where, if they're modeling an entire countryside or an entire farm area or an entire town, or, multiple areas like that, but really the focus is on the train parts, then do that. Focus on what you want to accomplish train-wise, how many sidings that you want, what you want them to be accessing, if you want to have like a passenger area, if you want to have an engine depot, maintenance shed, like put in all the train stuff that you want, and then just fill in the spaces with other things that kind of feel like they smooth it, where the primary color that you're painting with is track, and the secondary color is train accessories and train maintenance and train adjunct stuff. And then just fill in as if it was watercolor, have the very, very dilute colors that fill in between there with terrain and other things that minifigures might want other than train related stuff. I hope that helps though a little bit. Definitely consider that straight. And by all means, look at other people's stuff. Look at as many as you possibly can, and look for HO scale and O scale, N scale. Even Z scale. Sometimes looking at Z scale tends to have what look like very large radii to their turns. You've looked at vertical space. Yeah, gradient is too long to get into the space. Yeah, vertical space is a rough one. Power functions, the current power functions ones, not the original RC battery powered modern-ish train motors, but the current power functions ones are actually very strong, and especially if you put two motors into a train, you can actually go up quite a significant grade as long as your rolling stock is not super heavy. And when I say super heavy, I mean built with a lot of detail. If you build things like box cars with bricks, they're very heavy, incredibly heavy. They'll end up weighing easily twice, if not three times as much as one that's built, well, probably even more than that, that's built with panels. So if you ever do want to create verticality of tracks, if you actually want to have a train be able to go up and down in order to clear a certain space or to make room for a second loop to go through, focus on strength of the locomotive, to be sure. So power functions is a must there, unfortunately. But then lightning the rolling stock can go a long, long, long way because the weight, as soon as you go on an incline, it's all about the weight. You know, your rolling friction is not as big of meant to be able to get around a loop. See you later. Would I be willing to do a tutorial on buying tips for Bricklink? Hey, I answered that question last time. How come you didn't watch the last stream, man? I feel insulted. No, it's perfectly fine. It's something that I've considered. It's something that's been asked for quite a bit in the past, and I'm not confident in that idea myself. I've thought about it for years, and the last time that I thought about it seriously, they changed a lot. They did a pretty major redo that would have made the entire thing just useless, pretty much useless afterwards. So I will not commit to that, but I'm sure there are plenty of other people that have done tutorials on that. It's something that's asked for a lot. Definitely just look around. I don't think I could add much to that. Of course, I say that about everything, but this is not something I would look into too strongly myself. Would I want to be on Lego Masters? So as of some months ago, when they were doing, when they were casting for it, the answer was definitely yes. Having been through the casting process myself, yes, I have. My confidence went way down. Having watched the show up to this point, my confidence has gone up a little bit. Not in my ability to do it, but in my interest in participating in that world. It's a whole topic unto itself. But the hesitations that I have nothing to do with potential skill or competition or being on camera or anything like that. It's just about the production process and how the TV world works. It is truly a world unto itself, and it is quite surreal, more so than I think anyone who hasn't been a part of the process could imagine. And it depends on kind of your own personal ethics, just how much the TV world can bother you and how it actually works. But definitely some things about the process for that one bothered me quite a bit. Not everything is as it seems. I'll just leave it at that. Some interest, yes. Navy Dog, at my local convention, we have half the layout be city and the other half be train yard. I love that. That's what I want. And I may at some point just tear out another huge section of the city and just go for it. I mean, I already have a lot of space that's dedicated to train yard between the cargo area and the passenger area, and I do need to build up a maintenance shed for the passenger area. But yeah, I love that idea, and I want more of that, to be sure. I like that. Jeff, hey, where have you been? With my love of space-themed Lego, have I thought about a new Jang space station of some kind? So I'm kind of going with the Planetary Defense Force base being a kind of a stand-in for my desires to do a space station. It's Earth-based, but there will be some spaceships in it, or at least small ones. And someday, I think doing another room, if I have another space, I don't think I could actually put it into my my current room, but if I opened up some space somewhere else, it would be cool to do a space layout. I don't know how much, I'm sure I've mentioned this before at some point, but it was probably years and years ago. It might have been on my blog or something. But the original idea, before this YouTube channel existed as it does today, my original idea for doing a space layout, it was going to be on top of it was going to be on the mantle, actually. Was this 2 houses ago? I think two houses ago. It was going to be just on a mantle, and it was going to be just a space station. That's what it was. That's what it was going to be. A space base, like a moon base kind of thing. A neoclassic space layout is what it was really going to be. Before I even had heard of a thing called neoclassic space, I didn't know people. I don't think it was even that big. I mean, this was years and years ago. But yeah, that was my very first modern idea since 2000 of doing a brick-based Lego layout for myself. It was going to be all space-based, and I still have a desire to do that. And I don't think that my Planetary Defense Force base is a good enough stand-in for that, because I need more of the space stuff and less of the Earth-based stuff. I think when I go under the table, the lower part of it, I think that will be closer for me, but it won't be enough. And it's definitely something that I keep in consideration. It's kind of in the back of my head, but it's something that I will continue to consider long term. See you later, you're bad? No, you watch. I put out video, you watch. I'm kidding, come on. You don't like the Hollywood feel to Lego Masters? Too much overproduction? They could have gone so much farther with that. They could have gone so much more American with that. I'm actually impressed by the restraint that they've shown with that, to be honest with you. Of course, you compare it to like the UK-based one, where everything is just so serene. I almost feel like the UK one was a little bit too calm, almost to the point of feeling just a little bit sad, like really, really pretty modern classic music. Some Debussy, just almost to the sad point. But I think that the end result of the Lego Masters show as an entertainment source has not been nearly as bad as I expected it to be. I think it's been pretty decent. I would like to see more focus on the Lego, but that they need to focus on the drama for American audiences. Just being honest, is what people expect, But it could have been so much worse, though. And it's gotten much better as they've gotten down to fewer people, I think. Classic Space, Nick says, Classic Space had a lot of working man themes. Ice Planet, Futuron, yep. Life on Mars was the last one that wasn't all about combat. Yeah. Yes. I missed that. Absolutely. Yeah. Space, just colonization, some other world, and stuff still happens. There should be a space theme that has a greenhouse. And the most recent space theme has at least had the experiment pods that they put into the space station there. So that was good. Mtron was definitely a good one. It's one that I personally haven't gotten into. A good buddy of mine was heavily into it. Have I ever done a mock with a partner? A little bit. I've done a little bit. I've done quite a lot of building with partners in the past outside of the Lego world, in the RC, radio controlled car, professional level radio controlled car stuff. I've done a lot of building stuff, and I've done building stuff, creative building stuff with others in the past. But Lego, only a limited amount. It seems to be the challenge on the TV show for many of the folks that haven't built with someone else before. On the TV show, the problem is more folks that have never built with each other before. Or maybe you've never met before. What? Moving on. Hey, look at that. It's 3:06 local time. I wanted this to go about an hour, and I feel like we've filled up the hour quite well. Very much appreciate the interactivity, and I very much appreciate seeing names show up in the chat that I haven't seen before, and even folks like Jeff were being a little bit quiet. Oh, it's all good. Do whatever you want. And Navy Dog, I saw you in there just a little bit, but mostly folks are just kind of listening along. But there was enough feel free to interact more and feel free to cut me off if I'm going off on a monologue. You can still use the chat if I'm being boring or something. I'm going to take just a few last questions here since I've put out the warning now that the end is coming. The end is nigh. See you later asks, can you generally trust sellers on Bricklink? I want to purchase some things, but just wondering. Yes, I will say unequivocally yes. Generally, you can trust sellers on Bricklink. Most of them are Lego fans. Most of them are regular people. And it's like, I think you can trust sellers on Bricklink more than you can trust sellers on eBay, for example. Definitely look at their feedback and just be reasonable about it. Understand that a lot of sellers on Bricklink are just folks like you who just have some extra stuff. They're just fans. Maybe, they have a lot of extra stuff they just want to get rid of. Maybe they just want to support their hobby a little bit. Not everybody is absolutely instant. It's not like you're dealing with Amazon there, so don't expect absolute perfection of service. If somebody makes an honest mistake, work with them. Almost all of them will work with you in return, and definitely it's something that can be trusted. That said, just on the flip side, just to balance it off a little bit, as I have mentioned myself and I've shown a number of times in the past, some Bricklink sellers, I found, no, I can't even generalize there. Just some Bricklink sellers will not be so good, and probably too many will not be so good about keeping the correct parts together for used sets. Like buying parts, I have had maybe one issue with parts, and every once in a while, honest mistakes do occur, right? Somebody will read something wrong, or, there will be a piece missing or something like that. And you just contact them and I'll generally just ask for, or let them, I'll generally just tell them, hey, there's one piece missing. I don't even care about it that much. I'll order it next time from somebody else, but they'll usually reach back out to you and try to make it right. But yeah, part orders, very little in the way of issues ever have I had out of hundreds of orders, but orders for used sets, I have had some issues with too frequently with parts that aren't quite right, or parts that are missing, or stickers that are missing, things that just weren't described right. So if you're looking for parts, then go for it. Don't worry at all. If you're looking for used sets, especially if they're expensive, especially if they have parts that are rare or valuable, ask before you purchase. Ask for pictures. Ask for confirmation of completion, and feel free, if you're worried at all, especially if it's something really expensive, ask them if just what their policy would be if you get it and you build it and there's a part that's wrong, or a couple pieces that are wrong, because just say you've heard of issues before. So yeah, just ask in advance if you have any questions. Nick, great question. Thank you for asking this. Just the thing about boundaries. Am I all right with fans sharing mocks and whatnot, or does that clutter up an already strained schedule annoyingly? Definitely does not annoy me at all. As for cluttering up my schedule, I don't worry about it. I would love to have more interactivity and see more of other people's stuff. But where I do have a little bit of an issue, and it's just something that I struggle with myself, is when people show me their custom creation, then ask me to review it or ask for feedback, even if it's not, like a form. Yeah, some people ask, can I send in a mock and have you review it? No, I'm not going to do that. But even just asking for feedback in general, because I want to be honest, but I don't want to make anybody feel bad. Like creativity, I want to support that. I don't care if somebody makes something, I see kids, kids of friends, make custom stuff. And is it Flickr worthy? Maybe not, but does that make it bad in any way? No. I can't give honest feedback on other people's custom stuff, because I don't want to put any of it down. I'm not perfect, that's for sure. And even if I was the greatest MOC maker in the world, which I'm absolutely not in any way, shape, or form, closer to the worst, but definitely not the best, I still wouldn't want to give feedback, because I would need to say the bad things that I see, and I don't want to do that, you know. Let's see. Nolan, confident with the security measures on Bricklink and PayPal, yep, encountered one scammer seller, interestingly, but both Bricklink and PayPal reacted very fast and warned you before you made the payment. Interesting. Warned you before you made the payment. So it must have been like a compromised account or something like that. That's really interesting. Technic Beams and Fishing Line. Where did that come from? Where did that come from? Technic Beams and Fishing Line. What did I miss? Oh, there we go. There's what I missed. Busy imagining how to hang a Lego space station from the ceiling. Yeah, Technic Beams and Fishing Line. No, seriously, that's a really, that's the way to do it. There are a lot of ways to hang things from ceilings, you know, with anchors. You'd be surprised how much weight can actually be held by those boards. But you know, do be careful about it. And there are still studs, depending upon how your ceiling is built. You can still find some solid wood behind there, but there are ways to make it work. Cool. All right, gentlemen, ladies, if there are any amongst you, thank you very much for joining in. I'm going to go ahead and cut this off. I showed all these people. I need to put these people. You'll be seeing all of them in the city. I do need to put out a question to this group, and probably to a smaller group as well. What can I do? And I'm not going to ask for answers in the chat. If you can answer on Patreon in the main thread, and I'll probably put out another post about this fairly soon. But what can I do to provide more ongoing value to folks at the silver tier and above? I think I've got tan covered with their choices of sets, but for folks who are at the citizen level, you know, who specifically went in it's mostly at the silver and gold level, you know, who want to get a figure into the city, what can I do? If you guys could think about that a little bit, what can I do to provide more value on an ongoing basis? You know, after you get your figure here and in place, what can I do? Is it, you know, a story like the gold tier? I feel hasn't been really used that well. Folks don't want to have to go through the process of coming up with a little video clip, or, you know, basically folks don't have a lot of time or interest in doing work, you know, to be a supporter. And I understand that. I completely understand that. So think about that. For folks who are getting their figures into the city, what can I do long term to provide more value through Patreon? And I will follow up about that on Patreon itself. So thank you again. Thank you all for tuning in, and for folks who have watched this afterwards. I hope that this was enjoyable to some degree. And if you'd like to consider, you know, signing up at least for 1 month, you know, give it a try. If you want to participate directly. Otherwise, the comment section is open. I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.